Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to the Fan Batch. I'm Andy, joined by my own clone brothers, Wes R. Scott and Hank McLaughlin.
Right away, sir.
As always, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come on, get in on the conversation. That's what we're here for.
Buy a cup.
Buy a cup, too, yeah. Get some of that sweet, sweet merch. As Wes here is sporting.
New t-shirt. Fandom. Ah!
Excellent.
Best podcast in the universe.
Sorry,
I couldn't help myself.
Don't.
So, any thoughts
my
on this
favorite.
week's episode?
Yeah, I got some thoughts.
All right.
We talked previously about the unsurety of Hunter in his role as a father, and now he's faced with an opportunity to be a real father without anything else. And this was such a nice. I know that this kind of goes back to, we had such a great episode the week before, and now it's side questy. But at the same time, it's so tonally different. It is that, that let's just drop a piece of paradise in the middle there and give them something to like, they might actually consider this, only to maybe pull the rug out from under them later on, which definitely works in the dramatic sense. But this week I felt the warm and fuzzies on this episode, and I really liked it for that reason, that it was this warm fuzzy. We get to be normal people for a little while.
I mean, I completely thought more of the same sort of, oh no, the paradise is going to be destroyed because they're there again. And so it was nice to see them battling nature, I guess.
Yeah.
And instead of the reason things fall apart, they're the reason everybody lives, I guess you would say. It was an interesting episode. I still feel a little bodily, but I know that Dave Filoni likes us to take a big deep breath before we jump right in. So
suck back and reload, folks, because it's coming. We just got a new member to Team Omega, and arguably this person brings the least amount of skill to the table.
Or do they?
Just a kid. Well, she can drive a boat.
She can bring social skills to Omega.
Her last name is Hazard. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hazard. It's pretty cool. She's got to probably have some action going on.
Maybe she knows how to drive an orange car and deliver moonshine through Hazard County.
Gotta watch out for Boss Hog. For me, though, watching this episode the first time through, it was nerve-wracking for me.
Why?
Watching the whole time, I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Oh, you were waiting for it to happen in the episode.
It's too good to be true. Can't happen. And the second time through, it was like, okay, it's a lot more calming knowing how it's going to end. But then upon going through really deep on my show notes, I fell back into the first camp again.
Oh, really?
Because it might just be me, or it might just have been like a moment of clarity, but there's signs in this episode that line up to a theory, and I'll dive into that at the end of this episode.
I'm not going to lie, that the first, can we call, I guess it's seismic activity? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
The first sign of seismic activity, I actually had a thought of, there's a star. Look up, everybody. The Star Destroyer is here, and those are the bombs.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen.
They did totally subverted what I expected, because I thought the same thing too.
Right.
But having them make the decision at the end that they do, I think it's just belayed. I think the horrible thing is still coming.
I think that's the whole thing, as being the audience, we already know that whatever I use the term paradise. I mean, it is a short reprieve that they are going to have, and either they leave before something really bad happens to those innocent people, or they leave because something really bad happens. Innocent people. Yeah.
It's the calm before the storm, after the storm.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a third option, and that's what I'll get to at the end.
Okay.
Before we go any further, is it time for another installment?
Hang on a second here. I got to unlock the cage.
Let him out.
All right, here we go. Bad Star Wars jokes. Get back in there, you.
Which Star Wars character lives in Florida?
Which Star Wars character lives in Florida?
Greedo.
No.
Wow. Wow. Florida. Wow. Everglades, Gatorish. I don't know. The gator monster from the first episode of the Mandalorian.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
No, Orlando Calrissian.
Nice.
Uh,
I was like, my brain was going like Panhandle Solo.
yeah, really.
But nice.
Orlando Calrissian. Oh, that's so good.
So this has been another installment of
Bad Star Wars jokes. All right, put the lock on that until tonight.
Yep.
There we go.
So without further ado, shall we dive into episode 13?
I am ready when you are.
Excellent. So this episode originally aired on Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. It's titled Pabu, and it has a listed runtime of 29 minutes with credits.
Pabu.
But it comes into 24 minutes and 2 seconds without.
Anybody think Pabu was the name of somebody?
I thought so.
I was waiting for I was waiting for hey, and it didn't happen.
No.
I'm like, could we get the same character in 2 shows in the same week?
Maybe.
That
this
might
one
be
here
coming.
is
Yeah, really.
Yeah. This one is written by Amanda Rose Munoz, and this is her 4th go around writing, but she's been the script supervisor for 16 episodes. The director's chair belongs to Stuart Lee this week, bringing his episode total up to 12. And the synopsis reads, the team takes refuge and finds new allies.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we open in the nightclub district on an unknown planet, and the Orabesh on the signs here reads left to right, Club Lao Che.
Mhm.
And Club Lao Che and a partially cut off Oche. This is our
that's
first
funny.
Easter egg, remembering back to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where
That's
at the
great.
beginning he went to Club Obi-Wan
Yeah,
for an exchange with club owner Lao Che. And it's rather fitting, since what our group is at this club to do, they're there for an exchange as well.
That's pretty cool.
Inside, we see all manner of aliens enjoying the nightlife, including our favorite Aqualish, who's back on break from the Senate again.
Back in that jump, I'm going with Hank that this is some kind of universal jumpsuit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be.
This is a uniform of some kind.
But
I think so.
He's engaging in a game of sabak with a bottle of Utaguta Rodan. And we see a second bottle of this pop up as a protocol droid takes it to a table, and an R2 unit follows closely through the bar, clearly a nod to 3PO and R2D2.
Yeah.
But the real Easter egg is the bottle. Utaguta is the line Greedo gave Solo back in A New Hope.
Utaguto solo.
And it transfers,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
going
yeah.
somewhere, but that's not all. This is both. I love this Easter egg, but I'm
Yeah.
also sad by it
Oh,
because the bottom portion reads Rodan,
not Rodian, just
not
Rodan.
Rodian, just Rodan.
Mhm.
Well, maybe it is right out of a kaiju movie. I don't know.
Maybe, but the portrait on the label is
Is-
a portrait of a Rodian.
Yeah.
So, right out of the gate, lots of Easter eggs jammed in there.
It's wicked.
We join Omega and Fee at a table with an unknown group, as the descriptive audio calls them 3 helmeted thugs. And Fee addresses the leader as Crowder and asks if they're going to sit there all day or get down to business. And Crowder, he cites that he thought Fee worked alone, but she responds that she's teaching Omega the fine art of negotiation. And Crowder's left-hand man pulls out a green ceramic tree. Fee moves to pick it up, but before she can, he puts his hand on it, demanding payment first. But Fee says no payment until she's sure it's not another one of his knockoffs. And Crowder relents and passes the tree across. And one table over, we see that Hunter is listening in as he's engaging in a card game as well. Satisfied with the authenticity of the artifact, Fee nods to Omega, and she slides a case full of credits across the table. And he opens the case, and we see neatly stacked credits, each bearing a denomination of 842.
Did we get any other markings on those credits? I mean, I kind of stopped and went, wait, what?
It's
What
hard
kind
to
of
see.
credits are those? Are
Just
those
the Republic credit sign.
so they are Republic?
I believe
credits.
so, yes.
Interesting that they haven't switched
Only
the
money.
currency over yet.
Yeah. But depending how many layers are stacked here, we're either looking at 4 layers totaling roughly 313,224,
Oh, really?
or 5 layers totaling roughly 391,000.
I thought I was the math nut
30.
in this trio.
Nice.
I guess we could go back and, if you really wanted to, we could compare them to the stacks of credits in Andor to see if they line up. I know they're the same shiny gold.
Which is
Just
weird
a-
because the
yeah.
ones Hunter is playing with over at his table are almost a silver.
Yeah, really.
But,
Different denomination.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe.
But happy with the payment, Crowder pours a drink and slides it over to Fee. She swirls it around and gives it a sniff before passing it to Omega. And she tells Crowder poison isn't really her drink of choice. And Crowder responds, "Impressive for a pirate," as under the table he hits a release switch, and down underneath his seat, a hatch opens up and a Kohun, the long centipede-like creature we first saw in Attack of the Clones, it crawls out.
Oh, the Padme assassin.
Yes.
This whole scene was straight out of Temple of Doom too. The opening scene of Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Here's the poison.
You could see Narachi in the jade tree or whatever it is. It's like, you know.
The only thing we're missing is like the vial of antidote.
And the musical number.
Yeah. I don't think they'd actually poison someone in a children's show. They might go for it, but
maybe. But Hunter, he takes notice immediately as Omega informs Crowder she's not a pirate. She's a liberator of ancient wonders. And Fee, she puts her feet up on the table and agrees with
Dr.
Omega.
Jones, lady.
That's right. Meanwhile, Hunter, or thinking Hunter's distracted, Bith tries to snag some of his credits, but Hunter snatches his hand before he can. And leaning forward in the chair, Fee tells Crowder, "You're going to have to do better than poison to kill her." And he snickers as the Kohun has made its way up the back of Fee's chair and is prepared to strike. But before it can, it's skewered by a vibro knife and stuck in the wall beside Crowder's head. Yeah. Fee asks, "New pet?" And I do have a question here because all the previous appearances and mentions of the Kohun have stated that they're all instinct, no sentience. So just how exactly does Crowder have this particular one trained to go after a specific target?
I was sure the last time did you check the Legends lore on this? Because I'm sure that the last time we talked about them, they were semi-intelligent. You know, like
I know there was one Sith Lord who did use them as guards, but literally he just threw them in a chamber and left them.
At least trainable. They had to have some sentience in order to avoid the Searchlight and R2. You know, when they're trying to assassinate Padme, and the fact that they were working as a pair suggests that there's some higher function there.
But like Jango Fett is quoted as saying, you know, be very careful. They're vicious and they will attack you if you're not watching.
Somewhere maybe high animal intelligence, I suppose.
Yeah.
The other thing is
some way of manipulating them with, like, you know, technology.
Maybe droid tech or something. Yeah.
All that comes up here because their helmets bear a passing similarity to the design of Ant-Man
with the wraparounds.
Yeah. So is that a possible explanation?
Maybe.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, like maybe they can control these things. Yeah, maybe.
But drive them like a drone or something.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But Hunter stands up and the two flanking thugs pull their blasters, as well as several others that have been scattered through the bar. And Crowder stands up and tells Fee he'll be taking the artifact back as well. And Fee should have brought more muscle. And right on cue, the gruff voice of Wrecker says, "She did." And he stands up and we get that great cue as he just like looms over this thug. And with the odds now seemingly evened up, Fee remarks how it's getting interesting now.
I did enjoy that part. The whole she did.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Yeah.
It's like the inverse of Back to the Future where Griff just grows that extra 5 inches.
Oh, yeah.
But the thug tries to aim his blaster at Wrecker, and Wrecker just bashes him in the head and tosses his body at another thug. And Hunter takes out the thug behind him and takes cover behind a table. Fee slides down in her seat and shooting the leg out from the other thug on the right-hand side. She kicks back from the table with the artifact in tow. Omega shoots the right-hand thug and snatches the case full of credits back before dunking behind a table. And she takes aim and falls a giant bell-like ceiling Crowder underneath. And that moment kind of reminded me of Angry Birds, the movie.
Yeah.
Where they drop the giant pot on King Pig.
Not going to lie. I like this moment.
Yeah.
I like this whole sequence, actually. I liked, I hate to say it because I haven't been fond of the character up to now, but I quite enjoyed Fee's little, like in the holster under the table.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Meanwhile, back on the Marauder, Tech engages in a game against himself using Gonki as a gaming table. So
add that to the list of features this thing's got.
A call comes in over the radio. The team needs pickup, so Tech leaps to the pilot's chair and responds he's on his way and lifts off. Inside, the firefight continues and more thugs appear, and Omega suggests it's time to go. Hunter calls to Wrecker and then throws some smoke grenades, and visibility is quickly reduced. The batch make for the door while avoiding fire, and as the club doors open, smoke pours out and Omega emerges first, followed by Wrecker, Fee, and Hunter. And they leap aboard the awaiting Marauder. The thugs emerge from the club firing wildly, but Wrecker returns fire as the Marauder door closes. Tech lifts off, and the thugs continuing to fire on the ship, but there's no effect. And we cut to hyperspace, and inside the Marauder at the back, we see Omega, and she's like, "Now that was a fun mission."
Yeah, she's
And,
right. She's right beaming about this.
Yeah, that was fun for her.
Congratulations, we were in another firefight.
Yeah, I didn't get shot. But Wrecker, he's in total agreement, and Gonky gonks away between them. Gonk, gonk. Fee tells Hunter that Omega was pretty impressive back there, and Hunter agrees that her training is really paying off. And Fee agrees that Omega has the whole soldier thing down, but questions maybe she shouldn't learn some other skills. And both Hunter and Tech look back and to Fee, and Tech blurts out, "What other skills?"
She seems over her echo thing too.
The loss
like,
of,
you know what I mean? Like,
Getting back,
well past it in a mature way. Like,
yeah. Fee notes that Omega spends all her time with the batch, and she could benefit with a few friends of her own age who don't share her genetic profile. And Tech questions this because they didn't have that, and he doesn't see the issue. But Fee replies with a sarcastic, "No kidding." But before they can continue the conversation, Tech tells them they have an incoming holo transmission from Sid.
Oh boy.
And they all gather around to display as Sid's image appears. Holo Sid notes that it's been 20 rotations with no word, and they better be dead because their absence has cost her a few scores. And with a sinister tone, she tells them to remember their mutually beneficial arrangement and how well they know each other. And then pointing a clawed finger, she says, they'd do well not to assume that she's only threatening the boys. And without saying it, Sid has just threatened the safety of Omega.
I'll go back to what I said. I don't think I said it last week, or maybe I did kind of jokingly, but like at this point, take her out.
Yeah.
Take her out.
Especially after that line.
Yeah.
so
I know they won't.
No, but we might see how powerful she really is.
I think
that I would be interested in. I mean, that's a question that we've asked before. How much influence does she have? Like, why did they just reach out to, in the Zillow Beast episode, why reach out across the galaxy to Sid when potentially there's people on the ground right there that could have went after it? You know,
so she's probably got a way of tracking them.
I would think so.
You know what I mean? They, like while they were sleeping or something they ate, or and I think she's going. She like, and we've seen it coming. She's translucent in a hologram for a reason.
Yep.
But she's going to rain hellfire down on them, and probably down on where they are next episode. It's a holo call. It's another holo call.
Yeah.
But we get shots of everybody around in the cabin, and we land on Fee, who remarks that they didn't tell her that they cut ties with Sid. And Hunter relays that their mutually beneficial arrangement wasn't so mutually beneficial. And Fee knowingly tells him, "Figured it out, huh?" She goes on to tell him that she's known Sid a long time and she's a useful ally, but she's not someone they want to cross.
No.
And leaning back in her chair, she asks if they have a plan. But Hunter glances forward and tells Fee she's looking at it. So she gets up from her chair and says, "In that case, you're coming with her." And putting her hand on Tech's shoulder, she tells Tech, "Head to these coordinates, Brown Eyes." And Fee and Tech share the briefest of moments.
Other brown eyes.
Yeah, before they're on their way. Coming out of hyperspace, we do find the Marauder on approach to a bright blue planet. And on the surface, we find an inhabited island in the middle of a vast body of water. And the locals look up to the ship on approach. They land on the platform at the top of the island near a large tree, and Fee leads them down the ramp, welcoming them to Pabu, Fee's home away from home.
Oddly enough, it looks a lot like the jade tree in the bar.
True. But she tells them it's a hidden sanctuary, and pointing to the large tower, the large tower-like building, she tells them that's the Archeum, and it's where all the artifacts will be stored. It holds treasures from all over the galaxy. And Tech's data pad, it goes off, and he relays that the artifact Fee recovered is worth little to no monetary value. But Fee tells them that treasure can mean many things. And most of the villagers on Pabu are refugees, and many of these items that she recovers are remnants of their cultures. And that's worth preserving. Because after all, she is a But before she can say it and finish her catchphrase, a large man and a young girl step from the shadows, and he finishes it for her. A liberator of ancient wonders. And he tells Fee it's about time she showed her face around there.
Yeah.
As the two embrace, and she asks, "Miss me, Shep?"
Pretty interesting comment there from Facebook. It's actually my buddy Mark. It's one of my former colleagues from my service days. Mark says, I feel her power is very low side. It seems like a failed gangster who's only had a rebirth of power because of the Bad Batch. There have been several times that she has no one else to help her, like when she was captured during the racing episode. I agree with that. I mean,
that's not bad.
If Sid actually has the clout to pull together, say, several other thuggy people to go after the Batch, what does she need the Batch for? You know, like how much is that going to cost her if she makes an overt move against them?
If she's calling in a favor, right? I mean, we look at
true.
Bib Fortuna, who held the impression that Jabba was still a force to be reckoned with for how many years after the fact?
I think he just had everybody convinced that, you know, Jabba was still alive for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, how else would you consolidate his power?
All three of us could phone the Empire on someone, you know.
Like, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't think she's going to act on her own? She'll just.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but we're 90 minutes roughly from being finished the season. So if they don't cross hair, if you will, I'm not sure what it's all about.
Yeah, me neither.
I got it figured out.
Oh, good. Well, I can't wait to hear that.
I'm so excited about this theory.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wrecker gives Tech a nudge and tells him it looks like he's got some competition. And the young girl leaps to Fee and gives her a hug and addresses her as Auntie Fee. And the girl asks what Fee brought this time, and she unveils the green ceramic tree. And the girl says it looks like one of a kind, and Fee praises her for a good eye. Shep remarks that's not all she brought with her this time, and Fee makes the introductions. And the larger gentleman is Shep Hazard, mayor of Pabu, and this is his daughter, Liana. Omega and Liana exchange a glance as Shep steps forward to formally welcome them each to Pabu. And when he gets to Wrecker, the two big men exchange a hearty chuckle with a, pretty good handshake. Liana tells Omega that Fee has never brought friends to Pabu before, and Omega questions, not even Sid? And Fee replies, nope. Hunter questions, then why bring them there? But Fee replies, makes you wonder, doesn't it? Liana leans close to Omega and quietly says, she must really like you. And Fee tells Liana, that's enough of that. And Shep proceeds to invite them to dinner. And Fee tells them there's no saying no to Shep's feasts.
Like, don't be telling my secrets.
Yeah, basically.
Don't be telling people I got a heart.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more secrets than anything. But
that too.
There's food, there's drink, and general merrymaking. And then gesturing to Tech, she says, you'll probably hate it. Tech rolls his eyes, but Fee says, it'll be great. And then Fee beckons Shep to lead the way, and she'll catch up. Shep leads the group off, but Tech pauses a moment with Fee, and she relays that she has to put the artifact someplace safe and heads towards the Archeum. Tech watches only a moment before turning to catch up with the batch. And further down the mountain, we see Liana and Omega running ahead down a long staircase which wraps around the side of the mountain. They lean over the edge, and Omega is awestruck at the view of the extended village below. And Liana tells her, wait till you see it up close.
It's like we're all walking up Helm's Deep there.
Yeah. She tells Hunter at the top of the mountain is Upper Pabu, and it's the oldest part, but as they've grown, they've expanded below the wall into Lower Pabu. And just then, an elderly old man shuffles by and says hello to Shep, and Shep responds in kind and greets the man, Mr. Inta. And he asks how Mr. Inta's family's doing, and Mr. Inta tells him they're doing good, and thank you for asking, before carrying on his way. And Wrecker asks Shep, do you know everyone here? And he replies, of course, we're all like family.
This is like small town everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Beside a hive-shaped stone house, Shep ushers the batch to a seaside dining area and tells them make themselves at home. And they gather at the balcony, taking in the view of the sprawling settlement against the crystal blue waters. And having rejoined them, Fee tells Hunter, not too shabby, is it? Liana smiles at Omega as a green monkey-like creature scampers down a pole near them, and it leaps to the ground, followed by two more, and Omega and Liana chase after them. Omega stops to watch them groom each other, and Liana tells them that they're called Munoz, and the elders say that they've lived on Pabu before it was even inhabited. One hops from Liana to Omega's shoulders, and they share a laugh. This is the first appearance of these little monkey fellows.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't recall seeing these before, but they look cool.
Yeah.
They look cool.
Always good to see another little monkey creature. Looking on, Tech remarks that he hasn't heard Omega laugh like that in some time. And as the Munoz scamper off, the two girls give chase just as Shep brings out a covered tray. And Hunter inquires to Fee, says that Fee said the majority of the people living here are refugees. And he confirms that many are. Pabu is a safe haven for those forced to flee their homes because of the war, and many others after. And Hunter asks if they're not worried that the Empire will show up. But Shep doesn't think they will, though, because they're a small island with minimal reef sources. But if they do, he's sure they'll manage. And he says that with like a tone of hesitation almost. But
you think as a refuge at some point, I mean, it is an island.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, anybody who's ever visited an island, you know, especially a third world island, supply tends to be an issue. So, I mean, I get it that's what the plot says, but like there's a certain amount of real world logistics that go into this. Like at some point, your island can't sustain anymore.
Yeah. Like we know there's a thriving fish population based on what we see flopping around later on, but
yeah.
You know, can't live on fish alone. But the two men look to Liana and Omega, and as they're playing with Munoz, and Shep tells Hunter that some come to Pabu looking for a fresh start, a place to start over. And he leans in, placing a hand on Hunter's shoulder and tells him, as a father, you couldn't ask for a better place to raise a child.
And there it is.
Yep.
Yeah,
there it is. Yeah. Plant the seed, man. Yep. Plant the seed, Shep.
He then steps away, and Fee approaches Hunter and tells him, something to think about, isn't it? And Hunter questions, are you suggesting we stay on Pabu permanently, as they watch the kids play? And Fee remarks that Omega seems to like it here, and a little stability might do them all some good.
Let the kid be a kid.
Yeah. Later that evening at sunset, the group sits around the table with multiple platters now half emptied from the meal. Fee pours another drink for Tech, and Wrecker continues to sample the cuisines of Pabu. Omega looks over the back of her wicker chair and asks Liana if she has a boat of her own, which she does. And Liana asks if she wants to take it out and watch the sunset. Omega exclaims, really? And Fee remarks that sounds like a great idea. And Omega looks straight to Hunter for approval, and he tells her, you know, go have fun. Liana grabs a melon, enticing a Munoz to follow, and the two girls scramble out the gate and head off towards the docks.
In that sequence, did anybody else get the feeling like Hunter was struggling with, like he didn't know how to say that? Like,
yeah, like
he's not.
I'm gonna go off by yourself.
Go have fun. Like he's just so foreign.
She only just gave him the speech. Like he's just entertaining this. You know, that's him actively putting into practice a new rule he just encountered.
Seriously,
moments ago.
I don't know how to compute this. I'll just repeat it verbatim.
As the girls rush off, Wrecker groans, and Hunter asks what's wrong. And with a sushi roll in his hand, Wrecker declares he's full. And he's never full.
That's so true. Right?
And Tech, showing some humor, pulls out his data pad, relaying he'll make note of the date and time to commemorate such an occasion. But just then, Shep brings out another covered dish and tells them he hopes they save room for dessert. And lifting the lid, Shep reveals all sorts of tropical fruits, and Wrecker's eyes go wide, and he declares, I love this place.
There's another one of those unidentified fruits in there from the other Temple of Doom episode.
Down at the end of the long stone dock, though, the two girls make their way to Liana's boat, and once aboard, she activates the controls, and they begin to sail out past the dock into the evening sunset. Side note here, neither one of them exercise any boating safety. Wear your life preservers, kids.
I actually thought for a second when they hopped in the boat that the boat was going to be just above the surface of the water, but no, it's like a hover, there. Like a repulsor, like a land speeder.
Yeah,
no, it's in there.
It's in there.
Yeah.
But sailing towards the sun, Omega closes her eyes and breathes in the sea air. And a little ways out from the island, Liana powers down the boat, and Omega tells her that she grew up surrounded by ocean, but it never felt like this. And Liana asks why she left, and Omega tells her the Empire. And Liana, sorry to hear this, says it's okay because she's safe here. And Omega and her friends can stay as long as they want. And
Go figure.
Yeah. Omega tells her that they never stay anywhere very long. And when Liana asks, doesn't that get lonely? Omega replies that she's never really thought about it. Doug says, her power is selling Omega to Hemlock.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, that's the harsh truth. But
no.
Is that
I will be
like
so upset?
Yeah, but and then are we really straying into like, you know, like child selling children isn't, you know, is generally frowned upon. Like that's some dark stuff.
We've already had the entire child labor force. I mean, we're
That's very
already
true.
on that path.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true.
And it wouldn't be Temple of Doom without a child labor force.
Yeah, that's that may be where we're strongly headed.
Maybe.
But back at the house, the Batch and Fee relax with Shep around the table, and Fee remarks it's almost time. And Tech inquires, for what? Fee stands and tells him, come see for yourself, as she walks towards the balcony. Tech joins her and he looks around, but he tells her he doesn't see anything. And she tells him, just wait, it'll be worth it. As the sun sinks low, the lights spring to life across the island, adding a twinkling glow to the island paradise. And even the locals come out to view it. Fee asks Tech, pretty spectacular, right? And he responds as only he can with, I suppose that is one way to quantify it.
It's a very, that one shot is a very Mediterranean esque, you know, like Italy, Greece, like in that part of the world.
Yeah. For sure.
Out on the water, Omega and Liana take in the spectacle from their vantage point, and everything is seemingly perfect. And back on the shore, Shep continues drinking with Wrecker. Tech and Fee admire the sunset, but Hunter, he takes note of the Munoz, who have dropped their fruit and perk up like any animal sensing danger. Hunter strides to the balcony, taking note that the other Munoz are running uphill to higher ground, and Fee asks, what's wrong? Shep stands up and joins them at the balcony, but a violent tremor shakes the island. Citizens stagger as the city shakes, and yet again, our friend from the Senate is everywhere because he's there too.
We need a Walrus Man drinking game.
I have that wrote down. This could turn into a drinking game at this point.
Oh,
Because
really?
every time Walrus
awesome.
Man have a drink.
That's awesome.
It's the Hey Norm game with with Walrus Man.
Star Trek game where every time Picard
Hey Aqualish.
every time Riker swears.
We get a little thing here. Did you guys get the impression that Hunter became aware of the disturbance the same time that the monkeys did?
Yes.
So that kind of goes back to that thing where
he was inspecting the ground and checking for
not only that,
something.
but they're like in sort of the background for the Bad Batch themselves. Like there's this thing, and I don't know where it comes from, that Hunter is extremely sensitive to electromagnetic fields.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes sense that, you know, if there's going to be some major environmental shift, that he might be preternaturally aware of it.
Yeah.
I sort of read it tiny bit different, but it doesn't really change anything thematically. No. But Hunter, right? So I thought he was hyper aware of the animal's reaction to it, and that's why he was reacting.
Oh, right. That's interesting.
That could work too.
Never thought of it that way.
But that doesn't really explain the next bit here.
No.
Because out on the water, Leanna's boat rocks, and Omega questions, what was that? And she tells her it's just a tremor. They happen all the time, but just to be safe, let's go in.
Right.
And Liana powers up the boat, and they troll slowly over the swells toward the island. And Hunter radios to Omega, who relays that they're all right and heading back. And on shore, Shep, he calls over the balcony asking the citizens if they're all right, and they wave back that all is okay. Wrecker, he steadies himself and stands up, and a bowl falls off his head, noting that was different. And Shep tells them it's just a small tremor, part of island life. But Hunter, he suspects it's not over just as the next tremor hits. And the island, it shakes again, this time causing lanterns to fall and islanders to lose their balance. The residents of Pabu began to scramble for higher ground, while out on the water, a big wave rocks Leanna's boat, and the girls brace themselves. And Hunter remarks that was not a small tremor, and Tech relays that he believes the island is at risk for a significant sea surge. And when Hunter asks the odds, Tech says highly probable to imminent. Shep says they haven't had a sea surge in 3 decades. And Shep wonders if a sea surge were coming, why wouldn't they have heard the alarm sound? But right on cue, the sea surge alarm wails, and Wrecker notes that he doesn't like the sound of that.
It's like a don't say I didn't say thing, you know,
Yeah.
like a
You jinxed it. The horn blasts again from the Archeum, and as the walls in Lower Pabu begin to crack and fall, Shep hands Tech his macro binoculars, and Tech sees that the water is indeed rushing out of the bay. Tech relays this to Shep and tells him they must evacuate all of Lower Pabu, and Shep notes that Liana and Omega are still out on the water, and Hunter tells him he'll take the ship and go get the girls while the rest of them get everybody from Lower Pabu to higher ground. With a plan in motion, they all rush off, and while out on the water, the choppy waves toss the craft, and Omega can't understand why they aren't moving forward anymore. But from above, we see the waters receding back and leaving fish flopping on the ground.
yeah, because your little fishing junk doesn't have enough horsepower.
No, it's getting sucked right out. Liana looks back and sees a boat is getting pulled towards a host of sharp rocks, and they make the decision to jump to safety. And holding hands, they leap just as the boat smashes into the rocks. Shep helps up Erodian and calls everyone to get to Upper Pabu, and he tells Wrecker, Tech, and Fee to knock on every door, and they split up to cover more ground. Out on the former ocean, Omega lifts herself up out of the wet ground and crawls to Liana, desperately trying to rouse her. And slowly she comes around, and as they get to their feet, they look inland, and a large rumble grows louder behind them. Omega tells her that they have to keep moving, and Liana looks back and sees the water rising into a huge wave. Knowing that they're too far out, Omega radios to Hunter and asks what they should do, and he tells him, keep your locator on and head for shore. Not wasting any time, the girls race towards shore. We see citizens racing through the streets of Pabu as Wrecker and Shep go door to door, clearing Lower Pabu. The pathway to Upper Pabu is crowded as the people rush upwards, and Tech notes that they're not all going to make it up at this pace. They need alternative means of getting people up. And Fee suggests that the emergency ladders at the top of the wall would do it. And Tech pulls out his grappling gun and launches the hook upward. And telling Fee to hold on, she pulls in close, and we get a really 89 Batman moment here.
Yeah, I couldn't decide if it was a Luke and Leia, hold on, or a Spider-Man thing, hold on, or something else.
I'm going with the Batman one just because
I like that.
They went straight up.
I like that.
But
at least he didn't ask her, how much do you weigh?
Yeah, Tech knows his gear already.
How much do you weigh?
As the girls continue to race towards the island, we cut back up to Upper Pabu, where Fee is instructing Tech to get the second ladder while she activates the first one. And as he tries to unfurl the first one, it's stuck and won't budge. Fee uses her sword to pry the mechanism on the second one loose, letting a ladder fall down to the path. And she calls down, telling the villagers to climb. Tech manages to unstick his ladder with a tool, and it quickly rolls out as well. And villagers begin to scramble up the 2 ladders. Meanwhile, Shep and Wrecker have cleared almost everyone, but they spot Mr. Inta still sitting in his chair. And he's like, hey, what's going on? And before he can figure out what's going on, Wrecker scoops him up, and they're making their way to higher ground.
This felt like such a sharp contrast to when we met him, that it was this like everyday, hey, how's it going? And now that like people are panicking, it's like, is there a senility there, or some kind of, completely different?
Everybody's running. We hear the alarms. The island is shaking, and he's still sitting there.
Just gonna sit here, Yeah.
And I love the face he makes when Wrecker's like just speeding him off there.
I had this vision of it's like carrying a baby, right? Like a man-sized baby.
Yeah. So they make their way for higher ground, and the girls, they continue towards the island, and above, Hunter has finally reached the Marauder, and he radios for Omega to hang tight as the ship lifts off and rockets forward. As the wave surges forward, Liana trips, but not about to leave her behind. Omega doubles back and grabs her by the hand, urging her to keep running. Just then, the Marauder appears on the approach, coming in hot, and Omega radios for the girls to grab the cable. And they climb onto a rock, and Omega first, Liana second, they grab hold, and Hunter veers the ship just in time to avoid the wave.
In this moment, I could not help but think of the first episode of this season. Why is Omega hanging on the outside of the ship? it's the exact same line, like hanging off the side.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's used to it at this point.
Right, and now it's a completely different situation. We've these characters have grown some more, and now it's not even an issue.
Yeah,
You know that she's just hanging on the outside by a shoestring,
yeah. But at the same time, she's teaching her friend to do it.
and her
too.
non-soldier friend.
That's right. But back on land, the last of the villagers make it up the ladders as Wrecker and Shemp with Mr. Inta make it to the ladders. As the wave begins to crash onto the shores of Lower Pabu, Shep helps Mr. Inta onto Wrecker's back, and they frantically begin to climb. Wrecker reaches the top and hands down Mr. Inta as the wave swallows Lower Pabu. He reaches back for Shep as the wave climbs the wall, breaking away the ladder. And Wrecker almost goes over, but he holds fast onto Shemp's wrists as the villagers behind him steady the big man. Wrecker hauls Shep over and the wave breaks against the wall, and finally the water starts to recede. On the ramp of the Havoc Marauder, Omega and Liana look down at the now water-covered Pabu, and the two girls wave to Shemp and the Batch as they fly towards the landing zone. Shep and Wrecker, they wave back, and then with a hand on his heart, he thanks the stars that Liana is safe. He then leans over the edge, watching the water slowly drain back into the oceans, leaving behind broken buildings and washed away streets. Wrecker puts a hand on Shep's shoulder and gives him a comforting smile, and then we cut to morning.
Boy, that looks a lot different than the opening of it when they got here.
Yeah. Cut to morning, and we see the extent of the devastation, but not all is lost as Upper Pabu, up there, everyone's gathered on the landing platform. They've all made it through the night.
Yeah, virtually untouched.
Yeah. Tech and Fee help a distraught couple when Fee gives them a blanket, and then they follow the Munoz towards the great tree where they find Wrecker, Omega, and Liana catching some sleep. Tech moves to wake him, but Fee holds him back and motions, shh, just let them rest. Elsewhere, Shep and Hunter look down at the broken remains of Lower Pabu, and Shep cites that everyone made it to safety, and that's what's important. And Tech and Fee approach, and by Tech's estimation, it will take several rotations to rebuild Lower Pabu. And Shep concedes that the property was destroyed, but he maintains that his people are resilient, and they'll band together and rebuild.
Now, we've talked about this before. Like we talk about the passage of time. Now, we are all settled that rotation is 1 day on whatever planet you're on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Versus cycle, which I think we consider to be a month.
I believe so.
So we're talking repair time in days. That's pretty
Or he could be talking about rotations around
the star.
like,
Yeah.
Then that
which
could
you're
essentially
talking years, which
years.
makes more sense in terms of this.
Yeah, but several is your undisclosed number, right?
Yeah. I just think in the self-referential sense, the way that they've used those terms,
Mhm.
it just seems that there were shorter periods of time. I always thought that rotation was rotation of the planet 1 day,
Yeah.
however long that is. Because when they talk about how long they were when they were trying to when the ship got stolen,
Mhm.
and they
Right.
talked about how many rotations that they were just left there.
Yeah, they've been
Right.
stuck there for
Yeah,
3 or 4
yeah.
days, right?
I don't
Crosshair-
think that was in years.
No.
And Crosshair was 30 rotations when he
Stuck
was on the
on.
platform on
Right.
Camino, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Mm.
I feel that this is an ambitious estimate of rebuilding.
Yeah.
And he's usually the estimate guy. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're about to talk next episode about how fast they can build Star Destroyers, so maybe they
Oh
can
my
build
gosh,
towns
yeah.
pretty quick
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Well, droid assist.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah. Mind
So
you, have we seen a
Skywalkers-
single droid here on the island?
Good
I
question.
don't think we
I have
have.
not seen
No.
one.
To be honest, I don't recall seeing any droids.
I didn't see any
Except
other
Donkey.
ships or tech of any kind. Actually,
Yeah, it was very
everybody's
paradise.
dressed in soft goods.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like there's no armor or.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch it again because I don't even think I saw tech on people.
No.
I think you're right. It was all like wooden bowls and
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
The table. Actually, that's one thing I did notice. The tables and were live edge tables.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a nice little touch.
Shep tells them that they'll band together and rebuild. And Hunter tells Shep he was thinking and says they could stay and help rebuild things. And Tech agrees, citing that he was thinking the same thing.
I see that sideways look.
Yeah.
I see him looking at her.
And this one frame should be a meme because Tech is like, yes. So there's your next version of that. You son of a bitch. I'm in. But turning to Shep, Hunter tells them that is if you don't mind us sticking around a while. And Shep pats him on the back and tells Hunter they would be most welcome. And then gesturing inward, the four walk towards the great tree. We pull back from the island and we fade to black.
I'm not gonna lie. I was never a fan of the Fee character, but you guys know how much I love Tech.
Yes.
And I have this like firm like philosophy in my life that everybody deserves to be happy. And I'm not gonna lie, her being sweet on him in Sid's office felt creepy. But now, like the fact that he's actually interested in her, my opinion has completely softened on her.
Yeah.
Because of him. Isn't that weird, eh?
I'm going to break that opinion.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to crush it.
Okay.
But before we get there, let's...
Don't hurt me too bad.
I'm going to break your soul.
Okay.
Before we get there, let's meet the cast of this one.
Oh, yeah.
So, not
Steve
only
Beck.
in the role of Lance Crowder, but also Mr. Inta and a random villager is veteran voice actor Steve Blum.
Nice.
That's our that's Zeb Aurelios from
That
Star Wars
is.
Rebels. I'd love to see him back.
Yeah, he has over 847 credits to his resume.
Just a few.
Mhm.
And like you said, Zeb. But he's also Logan in Wolverine and the X-Men.
That's right. Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
Starscream in Transformers Prime.
He also does an online voiceover course if you're ever interested in pursuing voice acting.
Neat.
Nice.
Playing the Mar of Pabu Shep Hazard is Imari Williams. And with 101 previous credits in TV, movies, and video games, you might know him best as Boulder in the Transformers Rescue Bot series, or Shinjuro Rengoku in Demon Slayer the movie.
Crazy.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Just no.
Fair enough. Anyway, last but not least, in the role of Liana Hazard is actress Andy Allo, and she's got only 15 previous credits, but those include 17 episodes in the Amazon Prime series Upload as Nora Anthony.
Oh, that's a great show. Have you seen
I
that?
have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
We can
No,
talk
I
about
haven't
that
seen it.
separately. Just quickly though, that show is about
Essentially,
essentially
like Matrixing.
it is
upload your
when
brain
you
into
when
something?
you die, they basically upload your consciousness into a VR simulated world like The Sims, but it's completely like
Neat.
yeah. And the idea is that your estate pays for it. So depending on what they've paid for determines the amenities you get in the afterlife. It's very good. Yeah, totally good.
She was also in 13 episodes of Chicago Fire as Lieutenant Wendy Seeger, and she played Serenity in Pitch Perfect 3.
Okay.
Next up, we have our first mystery, and this goes back to the symbol on the case of credits way back at the beginning.
Oh, right.
What does this symbol belong to? Like, is it a new banking clan, a rebel organization? Nothing comes up online for it.
You know,
Pizza place.
Maybe.
It seems like, and Star Wars makes a big deal out of heraldry. Like everybody has an emblem.
Or a
So
crest, or-
is
yeah.
this some kind of criminal organization?
Maybe.
I mean, it's very, you blur your eyes and you can see the Iron Cross in the middle, right?
Yes.
You
when you're
you
focusing
definitely can. I mean,
the
if
negative
you
space is
tilt
very
your
dark.
head a little bit there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's put this through the and I'm going to use the Death Watch as not the Death Watch. Oh my gosh, the Shadow Collective as my sort of frame of reference here.
Yeah.
The red field and the triangles all coming together in the middle. Like maybe it's several groups that are. Maybe this is. Does the Shadow Collective have an emblem? I don't know. I've never looked it up.
You kind of blur your eyes, which I'm doing too much now. And probably look weird
Oh,
to
sure.
everybody out there, but
Yeah, all right.
it looks Molly.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
I can't.
angular and sharp
can't
and
dispute
red
that.
and black.
I cannot dispute
You know,
that. Is this
thematically?
early Shadow Collective stuff?
Maybe.
And very like a lot of symmetry.
Let's see
Yeah.
if we can. Let me see. I'm gonna. You know what? While we go,
Because I Google, like using the Google Lens, nothing comes up for it matching. But like these credits, they had to come from somewhere.
agreed.
Like you don't just go out and get a neatly stacked case full of credits.
No.
So again, and here it
They
is.
come in
Like
bags with dollar signs on them.
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? Like I said, So Star Wars makes a huge deal out of heraldry, and I mean, so we can immediately rule out the Shadow Collective because they do have, what about let's see, what other what was
I was
Crimson Dawn, maybe
banking
Crimson Dawn.
plans and
Yeah.
let's see if we can find something for that.
That half circle of the Crimson Dawn.
So I mean, Crimson Dawn, obviously,
right?
It just fits in that sort of like this to me. It says criminal.
What about the Guavian Death Gang or one of those?
Oh yeah, so something more future. Let's have a look at that.
What was the other one from Force Awakens?
That's a great point.
Conja Club.
Kanji Club. So not the Guavians, but again, Redfield with yeah. Kanji Club. I'll look them up too while we're talking about this. Kanji.
Yeah, it was just a little detail that kind of threw me down a hole, and I couldn't find anything for it. So
it's real cool.
But I wouldn't dismiss it.
No, nothing is there.
Yeah.
Place.
See unless if I can find something on
it's
that.
a reference to some other franchise, maybe.
Right, and then the Kanji Club. Oh, well, this is on something. I don't know where they've got this picture. Kanji Club has something else. You can probably not. Let me see if I can pull.
No, it's hard to see.
Down
white on white.
It's very difficult. I apologize for that. Let me see if I can.
Right. I'm just kidding.
Let me see if I can make that a little bit easier to see here in camera.
Okay.
Right. So that I'm going with this is definitely some kind of criminal
organization.
Pike Syndicate.
Pike's episode. Yeah, sorry.
No, keep going, man. No, this isn't. This is fun. This is totally fun. Pike Syndicate logo. Definitely not the Pike Syndicate. That's a yellow thing.
Yeah.
So what's the what is the organization?
Knights of Ren
that Shizor ran.
Oh, Black Sun.
The Black Sun. So this probably will not be the Black Sun.
Knights of Ren.
Knights of Ren. No, that's an interesting one.
There's all kinds of these factions.
Yeah.
There's the Droid Katra.
Yeah, so then definitely
the Droid Katra. Droid Gatra.
Droid Gatra.
Because the Knights of Ren, you could see something like an Iron Cross being representative of knights, right?
Right.
I would agree with that. The Droid Gatra apparently does not. I'm not finding anything.
It's just ones and zeros.
Yeah,
that's
really.
A cool rabbit hole. It's fun to go down these rabbit holes in real time.
Absolutely. I still think I'm still leaning towards criminal organization of some kind.
Yeah, fully.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of funny when you just we'll just put a sticker on it, right? Like, just announce who we are.
This is where you go when you need to trade in.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to need that.
The
case.
Rebel Alliance had us how many Santinistas have like a
yeah.
This is
I'm going to need that case back, by the way. You can have the credits. I need the case.
All right, so time to break your opinion.
Okay.
All right. As Din Djarin has told us.
Whoa, wait.
We got sound bites here.
Okay, sorry. Which part? Oh, yeah. So the line from Din Djarin. Yeah. Let me get that up for you here.
Kid, never trust a pirate.
That's right.
Oh, this is a cautionary tale, I see.
This is a cautionary tale.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny they gave us that line a couple weeks ago. But
Sure.
With that in mind, and I think my instincts are correct on first watch, waiting the whole episode for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
On second go through, knowing what happens, it eased my mind. But back again,
dude, this is like a whole flowcharty thing.
This is a flowchart.
Okay.
So we've been given a sense of false security for the moment, but just like Jay said onto Silent Bob,
whole fucking world's against us, dude. I swear to God.
That's right. The batch is on the run for a reason,
yeah,
and we cannot lose sight of that.
Okay.
So if we go back to episode 1 of this season, we knew Fee must have had something over Sid the way she acted in the office.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. On the desk. Yeah.
So perhaps to clear whatever debt Sid owed to her, she lent the batch out for an undetermined amount of missions. Because when we get to episode 5, we see Fee, she's downright mean to Tech, but very encouraging to Omega.
True.
So maybe she sees her as a protege, like maybe it's motherly instinct or something, but either way, it's clear Omega has taken a liking to Fee as well.
Yeah, because Omega doesn't see her as a pirate.
No,
she's bought into the Liberator of Antiquity thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Fully.
But jumping ahead to episode 13, we get some significant develops because Fee learns that the batch is trying to cut ties with Sid.
Yep.
But she also learns that Sid isn't above threatening Omega. And Fee herself says, you know, you don't want to get on our bad side. And if Fee actually didn't know this, there's a good chance whatever Sid and Fee had going had already been resolved, like debt paid.
Yeah.
But if Sid found out Fee is still running around with a batch, that would put her back on the wrong side of Sid.
That would put Fee on the wrong side of Sid. Okay. Yep.
And in that vein, she takes them to Pabu while also planting that romantic seed in the mind of Tech, the smart one.
That's some Lando level shit.
Yeah, seriously.
Even Wrecker takes notice of this because, like, when we get to Pabu, he calls Shep Tech's competition.
Right.
And Shep is the mayor, and his daughter, Liana, bears a striking resemblance to Fee. And I know she calls her Auntie.
Auntie, yeah.
But we never hear mention of Liana's mother.
That's
no backstory, no her and Shep came to Pabu to escape the Empire, anything like that. And even though she calls her Auntie, I think that's a safety misdirect for Liana's benefit.
Don't really want to know who your mother is.
Or don't reveal who your mother is.
I don't think Liana is.
I don't think Liana is involved.
I don't think she's in on it.
No.
If that's the case.
No. But like Maz Kanata said, if you look long enough, you see the same eyes in
different people.
And I think those eyes are a match.
You shrewd bastard.
But not there, though.
Okay.
So when Hunter asks Shep if he's worried about the Empire, he brushes it off like they have minimal resources. But the Empire is all about scrubbing out other cultures. And if they found out that this place was a repository for lost artifacts, would they not just roll in and level the place?
Hard to say. I mean, it depends on who's a line officer, maybe. A guy like Thrawn, probably not. Thrawn would probably collect the artifacts and study them. That's his thing. But I mean, that's so specific to that one character.
Well,
now
we're in the timeline of destroy everything.
He's not gone at this point. He's still ostensibly, you know, somewhere between the Chiss Ascendancy and, you know, the Empire proper.
Yeah. But Shep's response is the one that triggers this theory here, because he says, if they do come here, we'll manage. And it's spoken like somebody who's already made a deal, but they might be having second thoughts.
Did you not say that's Lando level stuff, Hank?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pray I don't alter the deal further.
Well, that comes up here in a second.
Oh, okay.
Shep also does a great job of convincing Hunter that this is the place Omega should be. Like, it's a great place to raise a kid.
Yeah.
But we have Fee continuing to distract Tech, which seems kind of out of character. Like, when I first watched it, the romance aspect caught me off guard. It's like, really? We're going to introduce this late in the game? But again, we're keeping the smart one distracted.
Oh, the feminine wiles, you women, Jesus.
The tsunami is definitely a monkey wrench thrown into the plan, but it only delays things with the unintended side effect that the batch has now endeared themselves to Shep and the Islanders.
Yeah.
So suppose that to square herself away with Sid, Fee gives up the Bad Batch on the condition that Omega stays with her safe on the island. Sid takes the deal and in turn sells them out to the Empire for the reward that's on their heads.
Oh, it's a win-win for Sid.
For both technically Fee and Sid.
Yeah.
And now we know technically, though, at this point, the batch is pretty low on the radar for the Empire because Dr. Hemlock's main target is Omega. So if Fee and Sid do indeed sell them out, when the Empire comes to collect, we may get that legacy line about the deal being altered further, and they'll take Omega as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Doing this will land the batch in a cell right next to Crosshair, with whom they'll have to work together with to escape and rescue Omega. But since Fee is only selling them out to square herself with Sid and protect Omega, I believe we can look for her to show up in the season finale, possibly with the cavalry.
Meaning Rex and Echo.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
So, still time to save a hand.
Yeah. So that is my theory.
Wow.
Play out, or am I completely off the rails?
No, absolutely not.
No,
I think there's a lot of
off the rails.
There's a lot of stuff in there that absolutely makes sense to me.
Like,
I'm not so sure that they are off the radar, though. I think that, you know, that there's still Scorch hanging in the wind, right? Who's specifically been ordered to find out who that shuttle was.
Yeah.
I still think Scorch is yet to play a major role in that, and so that's an extraneous thing that I can't neatly fit it into your theory, although I want to.
Well,
he could be the one to show up at the island for all I'm
just a sign. He just has to be following orders. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And if like, you know, if it's Hemlock, you're more likely to get commandos than troopers.
Yes. Yeah.
Or clones.
You're going to get
Right?
the ultra super duper loyal.
And I'll make
Yeah,
we're not
everybody water
questioning.
too. I also have a theory, but my theory is it involves the Bad Batch and Omega heavily, but it has to come at the end of our Mandalorian episode later today because it ties everything up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
That's
while we were on air, an Amazon guy knocked at the door. You guys might have heard that. You want to do something on air here?
What, live unboxing? All right.
Try not to cut myself horribly.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? It's fun to know, but to pretend that you don't know. It could have been a belt. So it could have been a belt.
But it's not. Oh, there it is.
Ooh,
wow, that was fast.
That was super fast.
I remember you saying you were ordering that.
Yeah, they were
really
on for
fast.
$9.97.
And so this is Amazon, right? And when I say Amazon, it's Amazon Canada. Now, we are all toy people here, and we've all ordered toys from Amazon.
Yes.
Turn that sideways. I want to see the profile of that card. That's pretty good for Amazon. Who has this like notorious reputation of like just mangling?
You could see a little angle in the light there. There's a little bend there. I'm recovering. Oh, there's a little like sort of like almost like shelfware on that corner. Yeah. So if you're super anal like I used to be, I mean, look, it came packed like this
with one pillow,
large bubble wrap, and the card flat on the bottom.
There you go.
I mean,
one packing pillow in the box.
Yeah,
little bit.
But
that's pretty par for Amazon though.
Our face is. I don't know if you guys can. I don't know if your version.
No, I'd be embarrassed to show you. I just, in my own headcanon, I have the first version of that figure. It's really boosh. That's what the helmet never comes off.
Right.
It's really boosh. It is.
I mean, I don't have a Han Solo for that to go with. I don't even have the carbonite one to hang on a wall. So it's cool though. It was under $10.
You can't say no to that.
Fast. I think we ordered it Friday. And I was teasing Lauren. I think I said, I sent it to her at like 10 o'clock at night before bed. Can you buy me this tomorrow? And she bought it right away, but didn't tell me. Because then
that's very nice.
I was scrolling through my Amazon at work in the bathroom. And
my orders. Wait a minute. I didn't order that.
There, but I remembered that I'd sent it to her. So I reminded her, hey, can you please remember to buy this when you get up? And it was out of stock.
Oh,
no. So she had bought it the night before. So awesome.
That's good. That's really good.
For $10, I probably could have had an army of bushes.
Man, custom fodder. If you're a customizer, that would have been good.
Yeah, man.
Making up some new bounty hunter types. Head swaps.
For a little paint job.
Well, that was the Bad Batch episode. What was the number on this one?
13.
13. Pabu. Not gonna lie, I was expecting like a bunch of like I thought it was a character name, so I was pleasantly subverted on this one. I love the breathing room that this one gave, the lulled into the false sense of temporary security.
There's enough story beats to keep me interested. I think it's strayed a little bit bodily for this late in the game, but like you say, like 3/4 of the way through, all these series have had breather episodes.
Yeah.
It's like so the tide is reaching out and it's coming back. Certainly it's coming back.
If you were disappointed in side quest episode of the Bad Batch, wait till you get to the Mandalorian episode that we're going to cover tonight.
It didn't bother me. I mean, this didn't bother me either.
I agree with you. I have some issues that I will talk about it when we get to that. But in order to get our thoughts on that, you're going to have to come back tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, where I'll be back in the hot seat covering chapter 19 of The Mandalorian. This one is The Convert, which we're going to talk about extensively because I think that has multiple meanings. This will be a fun one to talk about. Don't forget, guys, for those of you who are watching right now, you know we're a live show. Do come back. Do hit us up with your comments in the live chat on whatever platform that you're watching on, because we love to hear from you guys and hear your thoughts on this stuff as we suss it out. And we will do a lot of sussing tonight as we continue in what I've attempted to do a looser format to make it more conversational and ask more questions. Yeah, but that's going to be
That's tonight.
that's a couple hours from now.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to close on before we wrap it up for this afternoon?
Well, to find out if my theory is correct or not, we'll find out next Wednesday on when the next episode airs. It's called Tipping Point.
Tipping point.
Tipping point. Yeah.
Yeah, that says something.
Yeah,
that
it
title
does.
alone says something.
And,
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back next Sunday here to unwrap it all.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. This
So-
is awesome.
All right, man. Take us out.
From Fandom Power, I'm Andy.
I'm Wes.
I'm Hank.
We'll
So-
catch you on the next one.
See you tonight, guys. Bye for now.
Woohoo.
Same batch time.
Same batch
Same batch channel.
channel.